Hey, I'm Alex.
I'm Caitlin.
And today we're brewing a Pacific Northwest IPA.
Because we live in Portland, land of IPA.
American IPAs are a quintessentially Pacific Northwest style of beer, and that's for a lot of reasons. One big one is ingredients. We have access to so many fresh hops. At one point I heard that 98% of the hops grown in the United States were grown in Oregon, Washington, and Idaho, which is this immediate Pacific Northwest area. I don't know if that figure is still accurate, but the overall sentiment is a lot of hops are grown in our region. And of course, I mean, style preferences change over time. There are larger cultural trends, but I do think there's something about where you are and what beers seem to fit. If you go back through history and look at what beer styles emerged in different areas, I really do think that the styles emerged because of ingredients, maybe because of the water profile, but also because of just what felt appropriate given that climate or given the mood. I think that the American IPA is really our style here in the Pacific Northwest.
So today we are brewing a Pacific Northwest IPA. We're going to add some grapefruit later, but we're not going to talk about that too much now. Our third brew ever that we beered was actually a grapefruit IPA for our friend's wedding. So now that we have more experience under our belts, we decided, okay, it's about time that we not necessarily rebrew that recipe, but try and do another really great IPA with some of that grapefruit character again. And
there are a couple reasons why we decided now is the time. One of those reasons is there's a competition coming up that our homebrew club is putting on called the Heart of Cascadia Colors of IPA. It is an IPA only competition that allows traditional IPAs as well as different unconventional, maybe fruited or spiced IPAs. And the timeline lines up really well. And the other reason is I was recently at the Pacific Northwest Homebrewers Conference just a couple weeks ago, and I was talking with some representatives from Yakima Chief Hop Union, the hop growers and distributors, and they have several new experimental hop varieties, one of which is literally called experimental grapefruit. So I came home with a couple ounces of that, and we are adding both of those into this beer.
IPAs are all about the hops, so let's talk about the hops. So we're going to add hops at a bunch of different times, but let's talk about the hops that we are putting in there. The first hops that we're putting in are Centennial. Centennial is a citrusy hop. We're doing sort of a grapefruit style sort of IPA, and so this is just kind of general citrusy notes, maybe more leaning toward lemon, and that's going to complement that grapefruit sort of character really well. Then we also have Amarillo, which is going to be the most grapefruity. Now it's not actually grapefruit, but it gives sort of those grapefruit notes when you add it to beer. Amarillo hops, to me these are very intense hops. If there's Amarillo in a beer, I know immediately that that's what it is. It's kind of a little more, I don't know, sharp, bitter, right up front on your tongue. And then we've got Citra. This is mixed with some yeast nutrient, so that's what the powder looks like, or that's what the powder is. But we've got Citra that we're adding, and like the name suggests, it's also a very citrusy, suggestive hop. It's more of a juicy sort of citrus rather than straight kind of lemon or the sharp Amarillo. So it's more, Citra hop is going to be something that works well in most fruity in general beers. And then finally, what we're really excited about is we've got this experimental grapefruit hop. This is the one that Alex was talking about. It is straight up called experimental grapefruit. So perfect for this grapefruit style IPA. So we're really excited to see what this is all about. We haven't tried it yet. Or did you try it?
I sniffed it.
No, we haven't tried it yet. Okay, this one we gotta get our nose in when we add it. Ready?
Hey, that's
I
fine.
don't really smell it. Oh yeah. Oh shit! Flame out. I don't really smell it that much.
It's good. We don't want the volatile aromatics to blow up.
Volatile aromatics.
Okay, so I want to take some time to talk about the yeast strain that we're using in this IPA. It's the first time we've used it and I'm really excited. You can actually see the yeast starter right here over my shoulder. Something that I really love is having a really high quality yeast manufacturer in our city, and that is Imperial Organic Yeast is an awesome yeast manufacturer. A big part of what they do is, as the name suggests, they're making an organic product, but what's also really cool is that they put 200 billion cells in each of their pitches, which is double what you get from most other yeast manufacturers. This particular strain is really meant to accentuate hops in a big hoppy beer like an IPA. So this strain is called Dry Hop, and it's a combination of the Barbarian strain, otherwise known as Conan. It's used in a lot of East Coast, big juicy IPAs, and then their Citra strain, which is otherwise known as Sac Trois. It's a sort of a funky, it's going to throw off a lot of stone fruit esters, and those things combined should really make the hops pop and really accentuate the fruitiness of this IPA.
The thing about brewing is that it actually is kind of a wasteful process, just in terms of water and ingredients that don't end up in the final beer. So we try and combat that by collecting our runoff water when we're cooling down the beer. So this is just cold water that's pumping in through this tube and swirls through, and then it comes right back out this tube. And just by putting cold water through, it cools down the beer. So we collect the water, we use it for sanitation, pretty much just sanitation. And then also, another thing that often gets wasted is the spent grains. So we basically steep these grains like a tea bag in the water, and a lot of brewers will just throw this away, but luckily we have some friends who have chickens because Portland, and so we bring these grains that are still good. They just have a little bit less sugar than normal grains have, and we bring it to them to feed to their chickens.
One last step in preparing our wort, and that is aeration. We want to do everything that we possibly can to make sure that our yeast is healthy and can propagate and can multiply, and the yeast needs to consume oxygen. Rigged up this silly little thing. This is just an aquarium pump, and it pumps air through, this is a HEPA filter, and that's making sure that just all of the gunk and all the dust that's in the air doesn't actually get into our beer, which we would hate. And that all goes through a stone and right into our beer, hopefully diffusing it all in there. Alright, time to turn this sugar water into beer. Pitching the yeast.
Chomp away. Oh, and the reason why the beer is in this cooler, temperature control. Pretty sweet.
Hey guys, Caitlin is currently on an airplane on the way to Boston. I'm just hanging out here by myself in rainy Portland watching the Timbers game, working on my own brew. But in the meantime, we have to do a little bit of maintenance with the IPA that was brewed a week ago. Just going to talk through very quickly everything that needs to happen. This bucket has the IPA that we brewed 7 days ago. It has fully fermented out. We held that fermentation around 66 degrees for the entire week. What needs to happen now is we need to rack that beer into a couple different secondary vessels. These are 3-gallon plastic carboys. You can see some foam in there because I have sanitized both of them using Star San. I don't need to worry about that foam too much. It won't impart any sort of flavor, but it also means that it's completely sanitary conditions in there. And then finally, as an experiment, for half of this batch, we're going to add some grapefruit puree. We've experimented with grapefruit before, and we've used actual fresh grapefruit, but I actually won this can of grapefruit puree as part of a raffle not long ago, and so we're going to give it a try. We obviously have a grapefruit-themed IPA, so we're going to see how this works out.
Hop sludge. Getting a little taster of that hop sludge there.
Mmm, IPA. That's how you know you did an IPA.
The ultimate test. You know.
Chunky.
Ew.